Okay, if you don't want to be recorded at all, then just don't say anything when I open up the mics later. Just type it, that's fine. So a few of the general updates. So we've got quite a few updates if you've been on camp before. We have developed our sign-in area, so we have added a lovely nice blue tablecloth to the sign-in desk, so this will be found in your support box. We've also got these whiteboards which you can see in the photo. So this is kind of how we want you to set it out. In the morning or the night before on camp, if you write everything in blue or black pen, and then if you change any activities throughout that day, then scrub them off in black and rewrite them in a different colour. So you can see here I've rewritten them in green to show clearly that these activities have been changed. We're going to be providing theme of the week decorations, and we really want to see in your sign-in area a big wow that, okay, it is Jurassic Park week, and we can tell that from the decorative things which you do and that we provide. There's also a feather flag on each camp, so that will be a new thing at some camps. Some camps already have them, but we're trying to make it so the journey into camp for those parents as easy as possible. So having the signage and the way it's set up, making the journey from the first minute they come in all the way to the sign-in entrance where they drop off their children. So AM and PM Club will now be set activities, but we'll go into that in a minute. Consent to first aid forms, those people that have worked on camp for a long period of time will be glad to know they have gone. In previous webinars it's come up that why have we done this? It is a bit of a pain first thing on Monday morning for all those camps which have a vast number of children, so some camps may have 150 new children first thing Monday morning. But this is now in our policies and procedures and our terms and conditions, to which when the parents sign up to camp, that they agree for us to give consent to first aid to happen on camp. Or if they do need to go to the hospital, I think that isn't fully covered. So late booking forms, they have been redone and now mirror the online registration. There's staff lanyards, so these are green lanyards which will be in your support box. We've not got infinite amounts, so please ensure that the staff give these back at the end of each day and they don't go home with them. The risk assessments are now condensed into one book. For camp managers, you do need to go through these risk assessments because some of them won't be relevant to your camp. And then go through as a group on induction day to make sure that everyone has heard and have understand these risk assessments, and then to sign the log. So only make sure they're signing for the relevant ones. So if there's active slide at Easter, you won't have active slides, so no one needs to sign that. The head injury policy on camp, it is now, if there is a head injury that is serious enough to write an accident form, you must ring 111. The reason which we do this is over the summer we had an incident where a child was hit in the head, and the first aider didn't believe there was any damage caused, so it just went on as into their daily routine and carried on. When the child was then picked up, it realised that the child had delayed concussion. So to prevent this and to take the onus off super camps, so we are then not to blame, we ring 111 to get medical advice from a medical professional, because even though you may be first aid trained, you are not a medical professional. We also have head injury books, so the information which 111 will give you, you will write this on the head injury form, which will be found in your blue box, and the child is to receive a head injury sticker. So it's a head bump sticker. These are also found in the blue box, and they're like a fluorescent yellow sticker, just to warn other children and other staff if there are those people are acting a bit strange and a bit off, that could be why. So the accident and incident books are also a new thing. We had accident and incident forms before, but these have now been put into a book. So it's a carbon copy book. Each of the accident forms you need to copy out into this book. Please make sure you do put the cardboard sheet behind the coloured page, so you're not writing through the entire book, which did happen over February half term. So please make sure that doesn't happen. You then give the coloured copy of the accident or incident form to the parents, so that's either the yellow one or the green one, and then you need to fill in the log at the back of the book as well, please. If you do this as you go along, it doesn't take much time. If you do this at the end of camp, when you may have 30, it will take you a lot longer and seem like a much bigger task to do. So if you've got any questions at this point, please feel free to type them in the chat box, and I'll try and answer any questions which you may have. Okay, so if we don't have any questions, then I will move on. So into AM and PM Club. So now we're going to have 2 separate times of AM and PM Club. So 8 till 9 is for those children who have paid to be part of AM and PM Club, or 5 till 6 is the equivalent time. So for these children, we want activities going on that they can walk into and they can crack on with straight away. So group activities such as an art area. Don't want to go to camp, and the head office team don't want to go to camp and see kids just drawing on paper and pens. It's not a fantastic, thank you. It's not a great thing to see. Where can you stick up some of these pictures? They just end up in the bin. So getting the staff to create a mega mural in the morning, or first morning you're on camp, and then those children should create a welcome sign which can be put up ready for the remainder of the children coming onto camp. But they could do using the mosaic squares to create mosaics, or doing collages, or whatever you can think of, but really not doing paper and pens. A construction area, so there's a Lego challenge competition which is going on. So this can be in AM PM Club, and this can be at lunch times as well. So the children are to build the best Lego sculpture which they can. At the end of the week, this is then judged by you, camp manager, or one of your instructors if that's what you want. And the best Lego construction of the week will then receive one of the Lego prizes which are in your support box. Okay? Another area would be control games. So when more children arrive, getting the parachute out, or a game of splat or head catch can really get the camp atmosphere going. So 3 different activity areas for this 8 till 9 and 5 till 6. And it's also, where there is less children, time for the instructors to plan their next day or that day. So really planning time between 5 and 6 when there aren't that many children is key, because that gets the sessions which they're going to be doing the next day in their mind. And if they do need to go away and research or look up anything, then they can do it overnight. But using that time between 5 and 6 is a fantastic idea. So at 9 o'clock is the time when the majority of children turn up. So at this point, we want you to split everyone into their crews. If there are people who, so you might have to have a runner on your specific camp, so between the sign-in desk and the AM PM club room. If this is the case, then you can just merge 2 crews together and have a stronger member of staff taking 2 crews and doing like one big game. So this is completely down to the activity instructor and the group which they have. That it could be a song and dance, it could be a circle game, it can be a team challenge, but the instructors really need to come up with this idea themselves. Okay, so we do have some ideas for them, but we really want to see the instructors' flair and the instructors' sort of take on things. Okay, so we're going into the 6 to 9. So again, if you've got any questions, then please don't hesitate to ask at this point. So just type them in the chat and I can have a read. So any questions at all? So we're not currently sending the All About Me forms into camp.
There's some kind of information forms.
So the kids won't be filling those forms out about themselves, so that's not really an option for the kids on that camp. But if those are the sorts of things you want to do on your specific camps, then you can make them, or you can specifically ask for them from your DM if you want them. Yes, it's also applicable for APF instructors. For raw, those children that are there at 9 o'clock in the morning, they will then go across to the raw area, and they'll be going off and they'll be collecting their firewood or that sort of stuff. But the raw instructors know about that. So how will we record the Lego sculptures? Will a camera be available at the station? So the Lego sculptures, when your divisional manager comes round, they will be taking photos of these Lego sculptures, but you could potentially do the best Lego sculpture of the day and then choose out of those 5 Lego sculptures. So you're not keeping the entire box of Lego built in these sculptures for judging on a Friday. So we'll go into the 6 to 9 product if there's no more questions. So the timetable, if you've been on camp before, it's using some of the same activities which we have previously had, but just refreshing it and making it a bit more fun and offering them a whole range of different activities rather than just the sports or just the arts. So the first session of the day for every single crew within this age group will be a team building game. So we've come up with loads of different team building activities, and each day of the week you will have a different one to do with these children. We'll go into each of these sessions a bit more later in the presentation. So then they'll have break time, and that is from 10:30 to 10 to 11. Then they'll have the rest of these sessions can be mixed around throughout the day depending on how many crews you have. So you don't want all crews doing art at the same time because you only got one art room. So they have Art Explosion, SC Sports Academy, Extreme Activity, a team challenge and a weekly team club takeover, or a super science activity. So if we go into these, the team building activities, we really want to develop these key skills of communication, perseverance, teamwork and resilience. So if you don't know, we are owned by a company called Cognita. Cognita own loads of different schools around the world. But these are some of the values which they're trying to put into the children within their schools, and as we are part of the Cognita group, then into the children on camp as well. So setting a real team environment within your crew and making them become part of one big group is a fantastic thing to be wanting to do on camp. They can come in every morning and they know that they're going to have a fantastic day. They know exactly who's in their group right from the get-go. If you've got new children within your crew, this is a fantastic way for them to get to know each other and get to know a bit about each other. And after that session, they're raring to go. They're ready for it. So for all these activities, we will provide session plans if you don't already know this. The session plans are really in detail. They tell you absolutely everything you need to know, down to the kit and equipment you need to do, how to play the game, how to do the warm-up, a warm-up that goes with it, what to do at the end of the session, all of that sort of stuff. So if you're a camp manager, please urge your staff to be reading these session plans. Because they might know what they think an activity is, but actually it's completely different to what they may think. And these are available, as Sophie said, on Schoolology and also in your support box. So another section of the day will be an art explosion. So for the 6 to 9s, it is a themed activity, so it'll be to do with the theme of the week. So the 2 themes of the week we have for camp. If you're on camp this week, it is Jurassic Park. The following week is Into the Jungle, and then the last week again, because we don't have camps running for 3 weeks straight, is back to Jurassic Park. So there's a whole different range of activities which are going on over the camp time, but they're all to do with the theme of the week. And we really want these, if they're group pieces of work, to be displayed on camp, and if they are a take-home for the children to take home a piece of art which they are proud to do. We're trying to encourage them to use a variety of materials, encouraging colour mixing, and really differing the skills which they're gaining from all these activities. If there are activities which you think are amazing that you know from previous experience, then quite happily you can change the timetable. As long as we've got the resources and there's no extra resources which you need, you can do these activities. Just make sure you ask your camp manager, or if you are a camp manager, then make sure the activity is suitable for these. So week 1, which is, so the week starting the 3rd is Jurassic Park, week starting the 10th is Into the Jungle, and week starting the 17th is Jurassic Park again. Okay, so really quite exciting and new themes which we haven't had before. So a few updates to the extreme activities. So for the children that are 8 and over in this age group, they can take part in archery if archery is available on your camp. So some camps you go to and you say, oh, we've got archery, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do archery. But if the instructor is really excited for the sessions which they're going to be running, then that changes the children's atmosphere and how they think of the activities so much. So what we want to do is we want to get the instructors really excited about all these activities they're going to be doing, as excited as I am, to then pass this on to the children. So archery is a big one we're trying to redevelop. So we've added 2 new certificates, the Golden Arrow Award, which is given to a child, the best child at archery within the group, and the Pro Marksman Archery Certificate, which means if you hit 3 gold arrows out of the 4, then they can be awarded the certificate, which is a big, which is a huge achievement. So if the children can create their own archery targets, so using the big roll of paper or flipping over the archery targets which we provide, you can put water balloons into, you can attach these onto the archery target and try and hit the water balloons off. All different ways to really spice up and bring back the life into these archery sessions. Another new development we have got is the driving school. So we've added this new passport system. So we've developed the activities throughout the week to build up to a driving license on the last day, which they'll be doing the Grand Prix class. So in the session plans it tells you exactly what you need and what the children need to achieve to gain each of these qualifications at beginner, intermediate or advanced levels. There's some fun things like beat the stigs, so that's trying to beat the instructor around the course. We've got blind driving, so as you can see in the picture, obviously the warehouse boys are a bit larger than the children on camp, but you can see the sort of positioning which they'll be sitting in. The front child will be blindfolded and the rear child will be trying to guide them round the course which they've created. We've also got stop and start signs, we've got road signs to be used just to try and bring the life back into these Grand Prix Cup sessions. So another session which we have is Team Challenge. So working on the things which we worked on first thing in the morning, the teamwork, the resilience, the communication, but using games which the children know and which they love. And every time you go into camp and tell them they have one of these activities, they are absolutely astounded by it and really looking forward to it. You're never going to find a kid complaining that they have to play dodgeball. So what we're bringing back, we used to do super science activities, but they were taken away from camp. But now we're developing the program. We're wanting to add more variety into the program. We are bringing back these super science activities. Some of them are brand new. Some of them, like the exploded volcano, have been on camp before and were a massive hit. But these are just trying to get kids involved and thinking about things in a different way, and expanding their knowledge and all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so are there any questions about the 6 to 9 age group? Please type them on the chat if you do have any. So any more questions? Please don't be afraid to type and ask. Or you can turn your microphone on if you wish to ask a question. No, so if we've got no questions, I'll move on. So we'll go to the 10 to 12 age group. So this age group, we really want to give the children the choice of the activities which they want to do. So this is the day structure. We have the Teen Revolution Room and the Teen Club. We have the Extreme Activity choices, the Skill Development choices, and the Teen Challenge activities. So in the Teen Revolution Room, this is a new thing to camp which we tried out over February half term. And the older group, where possible, have their own room. If it's not possible, then using your AM and PM club room at this time, so this will be from 9:30 until about 10:30ish, and transform it into the teen room. So using these resources which are provided. The resources which are provided in this teen club box, please do not use for AM PM club, because some things aren't suitable for the younger children, and we're really trying to get the children to want to come back to super camps when they are at this age, because this is the sort of age where we have the drop off. So we really want to get these children to come into this age group, which is why we're having like the teen club takeover. So once a week they do get to come into this room and have a great time, but they don't get to do it every day. They don't get to partake in all these really cool fun activities. So it's allowing the older group to have more choice. So within this session, they need to decide upon what activities they're going to do throughout the day. So on the timetable, it shows you there's a choice of one or the other. So if there's a sport, it could say football or dodgeball, and the children then choose which one they want to do. If there are 2 instructors within this crew, then whichever ones want to do football, whichever ones want to do dodgeball will do dodgeball. If there is only one, then using democracy, the children will decide upon the activity which they would like to do. For the remainder of the session, they can then use the equipment in this room, so remote control cars, they can create bottle flip challenge arenas, tabletop tennis sets. So these are table tennis nets which clip onto any sort of table. So you can push a few tables together and create a table tennis table without us sending you the whole massive table. There's friendship bracelets, so if the children want ideas for these, then please look in the session plans for this age group, and there is some examples of how to do really cool friendship bracelets. If there's any more questions about that, then please take them to the end of this session. So we've got some new extreme activities. So for those of you who haven't been on camp before, our extreme activities include archery, quad bikes, Grand Prix karts, swimming, and now archery tag. So this is a really exciting new activity for us. We haven't had a new extreme activity in quite a while. So this is now at 15 venues. So if you have a look in your school that you're working at, maybe within those venues, you should have attended the webinar for that last week. If you haven't, then please just email Wes and he can send over the recording of that to you. So really, really exciting. It's kind of like a game of dodgeball, but using bows and arrows. If you can see on that bow, on that arrow, it's a foam-tipped arrow, so it doesn't actually hurt if it hits you. But it is a really fun, exciting game, which I got to test and absolutely loved. When we got it in head office, we had it out, and we were having a fantastic afternoon. So the skill-based activity choices in the afternoon will be either a sports choice or an arts choice, which they get to decide upon. So some of the sports choices, it's really getting them to know a specific skill and then developing that skill within a tournament of the crew, and they get an option of a different sport each day to develop their skills within. And then the art choices are things like design your own football kit, create an Olympic stadium, friendship bracelets, wacky paintings, all to try and engage those children and give them the biggest options which they can. Again, this is down to democracy of the group, and we're trying to give this age group the most fun and enjoyment that they can have on camp by giving them the choices to do things. So then the team challenge is in the afternoon. So it's the last session of the day. So again, using those well-loved games like Capture the Flag, Escape Evasion, Dodgeball, designing construction challenges, and there are some options where they can create their own team challenges and see what they come up with. If they do come up with fab ideas that we've not thought of, then please make a note of these and send these on. We could potentially pass them around to all the camps. That would be fantastic. But it's really trying to get them to bond as a team. And even though there is that competitive drive, if that child gets out, it doesn't matter. They just need to pick themselves up and carry on with the game. So I cannot stress this point enough. For both of the 6 to 9 and 10 to 12 age group, we have created session plans for all the different age groups. We've spent hours and hours and days creating these session plans for all the camps and all the sessions which we have on camp. So please make sure that they use these. They are available on Schoolology, so if you're an activity instructor, they should just be on the home pages and the same if you're an early years instructor. And also, I believe they are now online for camp managers. If you can't find them, then just let me know and I can send them across to you. That is absolutely fine. But please, please, please make sure that you as camp staff and camp managers, make sure your activity instructors are using these session plans. When we're coming to camp, we want to see the session plans that are being used. And if they're doing a session, they should know what the session plan says about it, because you may be quizzed. So at this point, I'm going to give you a word. That word is ketchup. Please send me an email. My email, I will just type it in the box here for you. Please send me that word in an email just to check that everyone is paying attention to the webinar. If you're staying on for the webinar for the early years and onwards, then you can just send me these all together at the end of the session. If you're an activity instructor and you don't have any questions, you feel free to leave now. If anyone's got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. So any questions at all about the stuff which we've covered for the 6 to 9 or the 10 to 12 age group? No, so if we've got no questions, then if you are an activity instructor, feel free to leave now. If you're an early years practitioner, then please stay for the early years section of the training. Okay, so the early years section. So we're all about the discovery for these early years children and trying to give them as much child-led play as we can throughout the day. So this early years program was created using focus groups of early years practitioners which we've had on camp. Some of the head office team. We've also been to different seminars with early years professionals and early years people which are high within the industry. So to really try and get the most out of the children's day on camp, making it in a fun and enjoyable way where they're actually still learning and developing. So this is the layout of the day: the golden time, break time, story-based values, action adventure, imagination stations, and time for me. So what we don't want in this day, as we would in the remainder of camp, is to have clear times and starts and ends of every single session. So break time is normally 10:30 to 10:50, but if the earliest children are in golden time in the morning and they've not got a clear break in the day or what's happening, they're in the middle of the most fantastic game they've ever come up with. But 10:30 comes and you shouldn't then turn around and say, oh, it's 10:30, it's break time now, we have to finish. You have to wait for a natural pause within the game or activity or session, which will come. If it's at 10:10 and you want to go to snack then that's absolutely fine. If it gets to 11 o'clock and they've still not had snack and there's a pause, then that's absolutely fine then. Okay, so you can adapt the timetable and move the timings to where it fits in. We don't want to really break up those sessions for those children. Okay, so golden time is a chance for the children to get to know each other and for the earliest practitioner to really get to know those children. So at camps where it is possible, we want those earliest children to go straight into the earliest room. At some camps it is not possible, so such as at Hurst Lodge, where the early years room is in a different building, it wouldn't be possible for those early years children to go there straight away because it'd just be a bit of a logistical nightmare. So at that camp, it would be more of the case that they just go after the morning talk. So what do the children like to do? What resources are they drawn to? Are they drawn to the remote control cars? Are they drawn to the dressing up box and they want to be a dragon for the rest of the day? Just really getting the earliest practitioners to think about what area they're interested in. If you've got a group of kids and they're really interested in fairies and you have an activity, can you link it to the fairies which you have, which you know the children love, to try and get their engagement to be higher? So we've got a whole new range of resources. I'm going to go through some of the resources which we have, but it's really exciting. And these resources do cost money, so please, when you're doing your morning talks, mention that the children need to take care of these resources and the toys which we are providing them, because some things are expensive, and if they get broken, we can't afford to replace them at every single one of our 75 camps. So free choice activities, that's all what Golden Time is about, with the children choosing which activities they want to go to. The story time option, so now we've increased our book range from a poor 10 books to what we had before, and we've now got 75. And there's loads of opportunities for observations within the session. So the activity, the earliest practitioner getting involved with those children, that's what we want to see. We don't want to see them sitting back on their own, not really getting involved. We want to see them talking with the children, seeing what their interests are, and extending their opportunities for progression and for play. So these are some of the new resources which we have on camp. We've got a dressing up box including some fabulous onesies which you can see in the photo. We also have some brilliant dinosaurs which are for the dinosaur week. Is brilliant. The world music selection of kit. We've got train sets, we've got cars, we've got construction stuff, we've got Mechanico, we've got a tough spot for sensory play, we've got word stations, we've got remote control cars. And one thing I do need to mention about these remote control cars is that on the bottom of the early years remote control cars is a little white switch. At one of the camps over February, they did break every single one of these by pulling out this white switch. On induction day, if you can put a piece of tape over the bottom of these cars where the white switch is, that will prevent that from happening. And we really don't want that to happen because they do cost a lot of money. So if you can just put a strip of tape over those, then that would be absolutely fantastic. So storybook values, this is the only adult-led session of the day. And we have a different book related to the theme of the week for every single day of the week. And these sort of values which you can see on your screen are ones which we're really trying to input into our children which attend our camps of this age group. So all the books are based on the theme of the week. Within the session plan, they're exactly how we want you to run the sessions, and they're really interactive. So we want you to read the story, but while you're reading the story, gauging your child's reactions. Oh, what do you think is going to happen next? How would you feel if this happened to you? Those sorts of questions which we want asking. And then later in the session, there's an activity based around what has happened in the book. So over Christmas, we trialled this at a venue, and the book was The Sheep That Saved Christmas, and the sheep he couldn't find anything that he was good at in the North Pole to help Santa. But then Santa burned his beard off, and the children had to make beards to help Santa like the sheep did in the book. So that's just an example of what the activities could be. So there's action and adventure choices. So you need to use democracy if you've only got one early years instructor. If you've got two, then yet again both activities can be going on. And if there is, if some of the children want to go off and do the sport option and some want to go and do the sort of forest school option, then that is absolutely fine. If you've got two instructors, if not, it'll be down to democracy which one happens. So the sports equipment for the Discover sessions, you take out the sports equipment and the children are to discover and create games themselves using this equipment. So it could be you're taking out the tennis stuff and they could come up with a game that's completely not tennis, but they're having a great time and they've discovered and figured out how to use that equipment. So it's getting the early years practitioner involved in the session, but not trying to hijack the game which they're creating or tell them this is exactly how you have to play it. But we want the children to come up with those things, and with the support of the early years practitioner. So yet again, we don't want to see the early years practitioner sitting around doing nothing. We want them to be involved with the children. So this is another ideal time for observation and progression and getting the children to use their imagination. So some of the sessions, one of them is nature soup. So during the session, they are given one brief storyline at the beginning of the session. So if the children are really into fairies, then this storyline could be that the fairy princess has become poorly and she needs some help to get better, and that help is to make a potion or to make a nature soup for her. If the kids are really into something else, then it could be to make some fuel for a car or whatever they may come up with, but then let the imagination of those children absolutely flow and go away with it. So some camps may have a bouncy castle. For this age group, how I want the session to be run is to have a clear set out of the rules. There are only allowed 6 children on the bouncy castle at one point. We don't want any more children. You can't go over the line unless you're going on to the bouncy castle. You can't wear shoes. Go through all of the rules with the children and then tell them that you're not going to judge the times that the children are going to go on or off. That is their job, and they have to be able to talk to each other about how if Jimmy's been on the bouncy castle for 10 minutes but Emma really wants to go and Jimmy won't get off, but there's 5 other children on there, how are they going to communicate and socialise to be able to come up with a solution? I was at Sherfield over February half term and I saw one of these sessions going on. During this time there was a little boy who was on the bouncy castle for about 10 minutes, didn't want to get off, but the children had to come up with a solution because they really wanted to go and he was taking up all the time. So they came up with, there were 6 children waiting, they would each count to 10, and after all the 6 of them had counted to 10, this child would get off. So he got an extra minute on the bouncy castle. And then they proceeded to do this until each of the children had a go. So they each got a minute to go on the bouncy castle, or ended up with 6 minutes in total. Okay, so really good to see those children coming up with a way which they can solve this problem on their own. And some of the ideas which they come up with are fascinating to see. So in the afternoon, there's imagination stations. So this will be a choice of the 2 out of the 3 of these activities. It could be an arts and crafts session or a crazy science session or a role play with an arts and crafts. But 2 of the 3 of these activities. So the arts and crafts ones are as a whole different range of things. I think tomorrow on camp they're building a giant dinosaur, or they could do moon dough. So moon dough is corn flour mixed with conditioner and glitter to create some moon-looking dough. So there are laminated sheets of how to do the crazy science activities. So mainly they're using the tough tray, and these could just be left in the tough tray with the resources needed, and see how the kids come up with how to do it. They could just mix everything together and it goes completely wrong, but they've tried to figure it out. And the arts and crafts activities we really want to see when we come on to art camp, these sculptures or giant dinosaurs which the children have made, and you can definitely tell when the children have made it and when the adults have made it, but it's time for those kids to have fun. So if it ends up covered in brown paint because the kids have mixed all the paint together, but that's how they want it to be, then fair enough, that's fine. The kids are having a great time, and that's really what we're there for. And then time for me at the end of the day is a recap of the day and what's happened. So to refresh the children's minds and to give an example of where they have used the earlier values found from the story which they did in the morning. They then get an opportunity to use all the resources within the early years room and a chance for the early years daily feedback cards as seen on the screen to be created. I'm going to go into these in a bit more detail in a minute. And then where possible, stay in this room until it is time for collection. At this point, if you are having the early years children in the room until collection time, then the Superstar of the Day certificate can be awarded within this time. Okay, so we've tried to develop the resources which we are providing the early years practitioner with. So we have created an early years practitioner file. So this is where they can store their session plans. The session plans are just in the support box for you, but they can be stored in here. There's 5-minute filler games which are specifically designed for early years. So if you find yourself at a loose end or 5 minutes to fill, then this is some games which can be done here. The early years practitioner handbook, which has just been updated for 2017. The development matters framework, which if you are in the early years sector, then you may have already seen this document, but it has all the development points of a child from birth to 5 years old. So these are the sorts of observations which we're hoping to see on the back of the daily feedback cards are the key life stages for these children. The EYFS framework, which is the legal document surrounding the EYFS, a guide to the perfect early years room, a supply of daily feedback cards, and also some spare paper. So these daily feedback cards are to replace the passports which happened in previous years on camp. The passports were like a weekly feedback to the parents, but as some children only come for 1 day, or some of them come for 2 or 3 days, then we thought it was a bit of a waste having one for the entire week, which would only be filled in for 1 day. So I developed this and designed it myself, and it's the daily feedback card. So on the front is the name of the child, the date, and who the key worker is, and then the child can write what their favourite activity is and draw a picture of themselves doing their favourite activity. On the back is the significant observation, so this can be found in the significant in the development matters framework, and then the area of the EYFS which is in, and then the today I took part in. So just ticking or colouring in the relevant circles. If it is something like swimming or bouncy castle, which is site specific, then these can be added on those blank lines as well. So this is to be completed in time for me by the children, and obviously the observation, whenever it happens during the day, you can fill this out, so it's not all done in that part of the day. So I'm going to give you another word now. If you're still paying attention, I'm trying to keep this quite short and sweet for you. That word is going to be telephone, please. So have we got any questions about the early years? I know Sophie's doing a fantastic job able to answer the questions that you may have, but if there's any more, then please don't hesitate to ask these now. So my email, I will type it in again for you. There you go. And so any questions on the early years? Oh, the word was telephone, if you didn't hear it, Steph. Okay, if we've not got any questions, we'll move on. So the other products which Supercamps offer. So we've got Supercamps, which has the multi-activity, which is the main product, which I went through before. We've also got a Passion for, which includes Bake Off, Super Chef, and Science. And then we have Raw Adventure, which is kind of like our survival outdoor thing. So you may have these on your camps over the Easter holidays, but there are more camps over the summer. Okay, so the first one is a Passion for Food. So the course which we're running 2 different Passion for Food courses. Desserts and Decorations is the first one. So we're really trying to focus on the different skills which are going to be, sorry, my phone keeps vibrating. So we're really going to focus on the different skills which are going to help the children with their decorating skills. So throughout day they will make 2 or 3 bakes and then learn how to decorate those items which they have baked. So in piping, in fondant modelling, in chocolate shaping, pastry latticing, a whole range of different skills which they can use. And then on the Friday, we've got a Friday showstopper. So if they've got any spare time throughout the week, they can use this to start looking at what they want to decorate their cakes like for this Friday showstopper. So there are some fantastic ideas, and I'm waiting for the first pictures to come back at the end of this week, which I'll be posting on my product development Facebook page. So if you don't have me on that Facebook page, then please add me. If you just search for Charley Pettit, it should come up. And then there's some ideas if you did want to print those out, if you've got the baking course at your camp over this holiday. So the second food one we have is Super Chef. So within this course, again, they're learning skills. So it's really about chefing skills. So how to use a knife, how to chop, pizza tossing, the truck of tuck and taste, if I can ever say those words together, and really going into a whole different variety of chefing skills which they may need if they want to go down that path in the future, or if they just want to learn how to do it. Some of the skills I have learnt, and I'm really pleased with myself that I can now toss a pizza dough. And then on Friday we've got a mixed bag challenge. So they will get a select set of ingredients, and from this bag of ingredients they then need to make a starter and a main, or a main and a dessert. But they have to come up with, using the skills which they've learnt through the week, what they can make. So another course we have is our Passion for Science, the investigation course. So this scary looking scientist here is actually our health and safety manager, so you may see him around on camp. Don't forget to mention this photo to him. I'm sure he will love the fact I have put it in my presentation. But this course is really a storyline based course. So we're trialling this over Easter at St Dunstan's College, and it will be out over the summer. I think we've got currently 75 courses. There's quite a high chance it will be at your camp if you're working over the summer. The scientist has gone missing, and the children have to use forensic investigation to be able to figure out what's happened to the scientist and how they're going to get him back. So the Monday is how they find out that he's gone missing. They're then going to try and figure out what it is. They're going to look through the police report. They're going to look into the investigations which he was doing and the experiments which he was doing throughout the day before he went missing, to try and figure out what it was that he was doing. On the Monday evening, they're then invited to forensic training school. So there'll be letters provided which you're going to give to the children on their when they're leaving to go home. This will invite them to a forensic training school on the Tuesday, and where they will learn all about fingerprint dusting and shoe print casting and a whole different range of things. Blood analysis, blood splatter, vomit analysis, a whole range of really exciting activities. And then on the Wednesday they will have a crime scene which they then need to have a look at. So from the crime scene they can start to figure out more of the trend and what's actually happened to this scientist. And then Thursday and Friday are trying to bring everything together and finally figure out what's happened. Are they going to be able to recover the scientist, or figure out completely what has happened to him, to be able to summarize the course. And our last thing is the Raw Adventure. So it's really mission based, and again it's a storyline based session. So each single day they have a daily take home. So you can see this is the timetable for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But Monday they make survival bracelets. On, I can't off the top of my head remember what Tuesday was, but they make camo tie-dye t-shirts on Wednesday to then wear on the Raw Adventure mission on Friday. Bamboo wind chimes. We have Zoo Lab coming in, which is a company which they have snakes and massive spiders and all sorts of those creepy crawlies, which I'm sure you'll love to have on camp. We're also doing, if you have Raw coming onto your camp, Zoo Lab come in for half an hour as well to do an earlier session, which will be great. They build shelters, they build fires, they do slacklining, and also they do tomahawk throwing, which is a new activity which replaced archery for this year. So really, really exciting. And the Children's Day absolutely loved it on camp. So there's a whole different range of activities all leading up to this Friday final mission. So on this mission there's 3 different variations. So if this, over the summer you have Raw at your camp for 3 weeks, there will be a different Friday mission for each of the weeks. So if there is a child that is on for week 1 and week 2, then that's fine. It's not going to be exactly the same every week. There is a twist and a turn. So have we got any final questions for me at all? Please don't hesitate to ask, or if you've got any questions further to this session, then please don't hesitate to ask or send me an email. So next week, Steph, which camp are you working at?
Griffin.
Steph is working at Griffin. We don't have Raw at Griffin. Next week I think it is only Sherfield and Hurst Lodge which have Raw next week. If you are ever curious of what is happening at your camp, if you just go onto the Super Camps website and try to book onto your camp, it will come up with a whole range of courses which are available at your site. So the only time which the Raw Adventure kids mix with the multi-activity is if they are in AM or PM club. So during that time, all the kids will be together, but if the Raw instructor can take the children over from 9, and if the children then arrive from 9 to 9:30, then they can go for a separate run over to the Raw area. For lunchtime, depending on the Raw instructors, they may go back to multi-activity for lunchtime. If the Raw instructor's happy and they don't want to break, then they can stay and they can eat their lunch around the campfire. That's absolutely fine. But they're away for most of the day. At Hurst Lodge, Kathy, it's not that far away. They're just there's a main field which all the other activities go on for multi-activity, and they're just into the woodland from there. Sophie's just going to double check the Croft induction day time on Sunday for you, Kira. Has anyone else got any other questions? If you do come up with other questions, don't hesitate to ask myself or contact your divisional managers for anything. That is the last slide of the presentation, so I absolutely flew through that today. So if there are things I have missed or you are not aware of, or you figure out when you get to camp, then just give me a call, and I should be in the office all week. Yes, your first aid certificate should get sent to head office, and then it will be forwarded on to you.
Yeah, it arrived today.
It did arrive today, Steph, so yeah, it will be forwarded on to you. So you should get it by the end of the week. So there's no further questions. Thank you very much for all attending this evening. There's one final word, which is going to be teapot. So if you can just send me that one final word, and then that's great. And have a fantastic time on camp. If it is your first camp experience, if it's not, then show all the kids how much the new super camps and the new products which we're putting out, and how amazing they are. So the day in the life of the camp manager, this can be sent to you by your divisional manager. So I'll make a note of it for Jerry to send that on to you, Kathy.
I think she's put it in the paperwork pack as well for her.
So just been informed, Kathy, that is being sent. It'll be sent in an email tomorrow, but it's also gone out in your paperwork pack, so we'll be on camp for you for induction day.